Let's begin by sitting upright. Suspend the head from above. The body is relaxed, at ease. Allow your breath to gradually deepen and sink down into the belly. Breathing comfortably so that it feels nice. Let the tension that may be in or between your eyes gradually melt away, softening the eyes. Perceiving yourself and this moment with kindness, with a sense of warmth, allowing everything to be just as it is. There's nothing to change, nothing to control or manage. Just the simple truth of this moment. Breathing in, filling the entire body with your breath. Kind of like as if your body was a balloon. And as you're breathing out, releasing, softening, letting go of all those little knots of tension and contraction. Allow those points to dissolve. Becoming a little bit more relaxed, calm settles with each out-breath. Just go with this idea of a little bit better. Just a little bit. And so we keep leaning into this nice direction. Whatever tension you may find, feel it dissolve as you breathe out. Just a little bit better. A little bit more open. A little bit more light. A little bit more comfortable. And it's totally okay if you're all over the place and super distracted. That's normal. Anytime when you notice that, that's a great step into the right direction. Simply noticing your distraction. It's a little moment of awakening, a little moment of lucidity. And you come back to just this one breath right now. That's all that matters. Feeling your body as you breathe in, softening, releasing as you breathe out. Just one breath. See if you can manage to have a nice, comfortable, mindful breath every now and then. Just one. appreciating that wakeful moment, then move towards more comfort, more ease. A little moment of unburdening your body, your mind, giving yourself some rest. That is something nice. And sometimes you may even be able to remain mindful for 2 breaths, perhaps even more. Not because you have to, but because it's nice. And it's nice because you make it nice. Let your awareness sink down into your belly. And each time you breathe out, release, soften. Let the belly become completely relaxed. Layer by layer, letting go of all the tension you might be holding there. You can even feel the gentle movements of the breath inside of your belly. Without any effort or force. Now we bring the attention to the heart. Center of your chest. And do the same. Very gently letting go of tension as you breathe out. Let that area become more and more soft. And just like before, we simply follow our sense of comfort, sense of ease. Allow that to guide you a little bit. Breathe away and it feels good, not the way you think you should be breathing. Release in a way that feels nice. Just a little bit better each time. We let the awareness ascend to the head, just feeling the brain. As you breathe out, you let the brain open up, almost as if it would slowly evaporate. Feeling as all the tension dissolves into a sense of openness, spaciousness. Feel the eyes becoming soft, calm. And then each time when you breathe out, you allow a wave of release to go from the crown of your head all the way down into the seat. This wave is following your out-breath. When the out-breath starts, it kicks off at the center of your head. And as the out-breath gradually fades out, it arrives down in the seat. And once you feel nicely released and open, and we just sit in presence, experiencing the simple presence of life, the sounds, the sensations, the arising and passing random thoughts, emotions, simply knowing what is happening while it is happening. There's no need to interfere with anything or control, chase or push away. Simply let things be. Seeing clearly and directly how there is absolutely not a single experience that remains for even a second. Every feeling, every sight, every smell, every sound, every thought arises in order to pass, to change, to move. And we simply allow that to happen. most people, all there really is just sound, thought, and feeling. A bit more rare when experience is seeing, and even more rare is smelling or tasting. So I recommend to just stay with the experience of hearing, feeling, thinking, just watching it all come and go. It's like sitting by a riverside. There's all kinds of things floating by. You're neither jumping in to swim with those things and chase them and follow them. You're also not jumping in to arrange those things and block them. You simply sit there. Observing truth. Whatever you look at, as you look, it already changes right before your eyes. It transforms into something else. Different feelings, different words, sentences, ideas. Different sounds. And gradually, in your own time, if you like, you can slowly come back into the room. Open your eyes, perhaps gently stretch a little bit if you like. So, good evening, everyone. It's good to see all of you. It's one of the very, very powerful skills that you can learn with meditation practice is the skill of equanimity. So what equanimity really means is that you are balanced in the middle of the experience of aliveness. You're not interacting with anything, you're not jumping into anything, you're not grasping anything, you simply experience what is as it is without being carried away by it. So you maintain your balance. So when pleasant experiences arise, you're not getting carried away with them, meaning you're not holding on to them, grasping them, trying to turn up the volume and experience them in more intensity. You simply allow them to be there naturally. Just as they arise, they unfold for a little while, and then they recede and give way for something else. And there's unpleasant experiences. Same thing. You don't get caught up in fighting those unpleasant experiences. Simply observe them for what they are without reacting to them. It's really straightforward. It's a very simple practice to do that. All you need to do is sit and allow yourself to be. And just see what happens. All kinds of things will happen. You can sit down for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, 15, 2 hours. You just sit there, see what happens. And you'll get quite a bunch of visitors. Some of the visitors will be, pleasant, some unpleasant, some neutral. Those that are neutral, we don't really notice them that much. For example, just feeling the seat, feeling your arms or your legs or something like that. We usually don't feel things when they're kind of balanced out. We start feeling them when they're getting a bit more pleasant or a bit more unpleasant. And we notice them. And in the beginning, start by simply practicing to stay and to not react. You can practice, for example, to sit still and not move. You have a little bit of an itch, you really want to scratch it, don't. Just observe it. What is it like to feel an itch? And what will happen to it if I don't do anything about it? And you'll be quite surprised to notice that the itch arises and then it passes all by itself. You don't have to scratch, actually. And when I say it passes, there's a variety of ways that something can pass. Well, first of all, to illustrate that a little bit further, you can only have 6 experiences. That's it. There's no more than 6 experiences that a human being can have. The first is sound, the experience of sound. That's an experience that you can have. And there's an experience of feeling. It's feeling the body, feeling various sensations, heat, coldness, pressure, heaviness, lightness, and so forth. So the experience of touch. Then there's the experience of sight. So you can see colors and shapes, or simply light in its various forms. Then you can smell and you can taste. And the 6th one is thinking. In short, thinking. It's just the internal stuff that your mind makes up. All the stuff that's not actually here, it's almost a bit like daydreaming. Also includes mental movements such as volition, intention, wanting, not wanting, resisting, and grasping, and all that stuff. That is within this kind of area. So these are 6 experiences that we can make. Outside of that, there's nothing else. That's all. But if you sit down, that's exactly what you can observe. Simple facts. You can all put this to the test. You don't have to believe me at all. You sit down and see, well, what's going on? Well, it's either going to be sound or feeling or thinking or seeing, smelling, and tasting. That's it. Now you can further split those up. Each one of those senses You can split up into three categories to have this experience. So the first is the sense object. The second is the sense organ. And the third is the sense consciousness. So with sound, you can have a sound that exists out there. For example, sound of a singing bowl, like this. You have the sound. And there has to be the organ present that picks that sound up, that is sensitive to that sound, which is your ear. But that's not enough. It's not enough to just have sound and ear. There also has to be consciousness. That's why a corpse wouldn't hear that. It's lacking consciousness. But a corpse has an ear, right? Eardrums also perhaps vibrate as well. The sound is still there, but no one is hearing it, okay? So that's the three categories. And you can have that for each of the senses. You can have a nose, you can have a smell, both need to meet and you need to be aware of it. Then you have the experience of smelling or tasting or thinking. For the mind, the objects are thoughts, intellectual objects. The intellect itself is the receiving organ, and you can become conscious of what the intellect creates. Now that's all that's going on. To make it really short, you can put all the 6 senses that I've just mentioned and just label it as various forms of energy. And then the other thing that exists is consciousness, that which is aware of those various forms of energy. And there's just 2 things, consciousness and energy. And that's exactly what you're going to find as a truth if you simply take the time to sit down and look honestly at your experience. It's a bit difficult in the beginning because most people don't notice when they're thinking stuff into existence. Like, for example, they hear the sound of the singing bowl. Maybe you're an expert and you go, yeah, that's a Tibetan bowl, about 73% brass, 20% copper. Okay, all that additional thing is made up. And then you mix them up. You don't even notice that you're thinking that into existence. You don't know that there's a process of thinking going on. It's kind of like dreaming without knowing that you're dreaming. But as soon as you become aware of the process of thinking, oh, there is thinking, now you're aware of the reality of it again. Maybe you see someone in your life that you dislike and you think, this person is stupid. And you see them in front of you, and your thinking process is overlaid on top of seeing, and you're identified with the process of thinking in that moment, so you don't see it from the outside. You remain unaware of the fact that, oh, actually, there is no stupid person out there, but there is thinking in there. And that thinking is such that, oh, he's stupid. It's a bunch of words that run through your mind, coupled with a bunch of feelings that come together with that, which then you call anger. Again, the word anger is simply the word. What does it label? A particular sensation that you have in your body in a moment. So it's a coming together of word, concept, sensation, consciousness, sense of self, and then you have all that all together is kind of like the soup of experience. I'm so angry right now. But if you were to look honestly, then you were to see, if you can break it down into all of its components, then you see, well, it's just a bunch of natural processes flowing through. And as long as you're not holding them, grasping them, they would just arise and pass really fast. But because we hold them, we grasp them, we're interested in them, and we forget ourselves as an observer, we mix up with it, it remains. And then we start expressing it in this world, in this physical world. We start riding it, thinking about it, trying to get rid of it, trying to hang on to it. And all that makes the experience much more real in our heads than it actually is. And so when we practice equanimity, we learn to sit down and actually, first of all, become aware of what's actually happening. And then we maintain that mindfully, this awareness of what's actually going on. You need to train yourself not to forget that there's a bunch of things running on. Just like the river from the guided meditation. There's a bunch of things happening continuously, very fast. You could call it, there is aliveness happening within this body. And it expresses itself in the form of sensations and concepts and ideas and all these kind of things. So that's kind of good news. It means your brain is working, your heart is working, your nervous system is working, it's all doing its job. But there is no reason to latch onto that and identify with it. As soon as you identify with something, you become that thing, and then you suffer that thing, almost like putting on a heavy jacket or a smelly jacket. Then you run around with it. Not only you suffer, but also everyone else. In case of a smelly jacket, say you wear the smelly jacket of anger. It's not only just you that's going to be in trouble, it's also everyone else that is blind to themselves, that is going to be sucked into that vortex of trouble. So that the key word here is being blind to it. If you forget seeing yourself for what you actually are, for what's actually going on, you get confused. And once you're confused, again, we come back to the example of the dreamer that doesn't know that he's dreaming, then the monsters will actually scare you. And the nice things will actually attract you. Because you don't know what's really going on. It's a dream, it's made by your own brain. It's your own little movie at night, or you trip. And you're firmly in the grip of whatever the mind produces in that moment. You just don't know. You don't know that you're dreaming. You don't know that the people you see in your dream are actually not really there. The projections of yourself. What if real life, whatever you call real life, is something just like that? How could you know that it's not the case? There's no way to prove that. You can't actually prove that you're not within a giant dream right now. And at some point, maybe when you die, you kind of wake up in another place, another body. And you contemplate, wow, that was quite a trip. That was crazy. Maybe you're some alien on some different planet and you talk with your alien friends about, I've had the weirdest experience. Can you imagine, guys? I've had like these two weird things sticking out of my upper body. Maybe these aliens don't have arms, but as a human being, you had arms. So I had these two weird things sticking out of my body. I didn't even know what to do with them. Then I had two legs, and I had to learn how to use them. And man, I had to go to something they called school, and crazy stuff. Who knows, right? We don't actually know whether right now we're dreaming or not. Like in most of my dreams, I don't know whether I'm dreaming or not. Not at all. It takes a bunch of training to actually become aware that you're dreaming at night, while you're dreaming. And then perhaps even making use of your dream. Just doing meditation or something like that. doing your spiritual practice, or eat food. Whatever it is that you're into, right? So equanimity, to come back to the main road, is trained by learning to see things as they are and then not reacting to them. Not jumping in. And you could only do that if you were maintaining mindfully an awareness of what is actually happening. That's a feeling. And whatever sense experiences you have, they come in 3 flavors. Pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. We covered that in the beginning. So there's pleasant sounds, unpleasant sounds, neutral sounds. In reality, it is just sound. But we are so conditioned, the conditioning happens so fast to experience it immediately as either pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, depending on your upbringing and cultural conditioning, the way your nervous system works and so forth. You will experience one thing nicely and another one not so nice. The key here is to try to experience it for what it is. So, okay, there is sound. Let's say someone starts cutting down trees or something and it's just super noisy. And I just sat down to do my meditation. And I notice every time the chainsaw starts like becoming a bit more loud, he's revving the chainsaw, and I feel this pull in my chest and a bit of a tightening of my belly each time, and it goes together really well with this sound of the chainsaw. So I would just learn to observe that, and as I observe it for what it is, I notice I begin to relax and the drama leaves the situation. The feeling of, oh my God, why does he have to do this right now? I hate this sound. It turns into a simple experience of aliveness, just this way. And as the drama leaves, that the suffering leaves that situation, it's actually quite pleasant. You don't feel disturbed anymore. So what happens that was an example of unpleasant. What happens if it's pleasant? A lot of people are a bit scared. They think like, wait a second, I mean, I'm happily letting go of unpleasant things, but what about pleasant stuff? I don't want to let go of something that's nice. I want to enjoy it. I want to hold it. I want to increase it. Well, the thing is, actually by holding it, by trying to increase it, you destroy it. If you don't touch it, it expands. And it does expand for quite a while. So here's the thing. If it's unpleasant and you let go, it gets better. If it is pleasant and you let go, it gets better. But we never really experience it getting better because we destroy it before it can actually get better. By grasping it, by identifying with it, holding it, wanting to own it, wanting to be in control of it, destroys it. By the way, that's the same thing for relationships too. Same rule applies. Wanting to grasp it, own it, control it, destroys it. The same thing, by the way, also goes for the government and the population. The more control and pressure you exercise, the more rebellion you will have. It destroys a good relationship. Let me tell you what you should think. Let me tell you what you should feel. It destroys relationship, creates division. The more I try to control you, so I don't have to suffer, the more I suffer. The more you suffer. So equanimity is a nice gateway to love, to openness, to true connection. It is a tool that helps you to remain unbothered by the natural changes of this world. It comes in really handy. If you do something nice to others, you don't need a return because you rest happily in equanimity. You're not dependent on the ups and downs of this world. You're quite free. So equanimity is not this kind of clinical aloofness that gets you out of touch with everything. It's not indifference, not at all. It's very much intimate with all of life. It just doesn't suffer it. It isn't pulled up and down with it, but it's still right there with it. That's pretty cool stuff. And that's why they usually teach it together in the pack of the four. You have love, loving kindness, metta. Then you have compassion, karuna. You have sympathetic joy, mudita, and you have upekkha, which is equanimity. Those four come together. Love, the wish for X, that might be yourself or others, to be truly happy. Compassion, the wish for X, to be free from suffering, free from distress. Well, say you work in the name of love and compassion. You actually try to make your own life better for the sake of, like, sparing your family your own suffering. Like not bringing your own problems to your friends. Actually solving them within yourself. Liberating yourself from your own pain. So you're not another pain point in this world. You free the world from your own pain. What a great service. You're not asking everyone else to stop being angry. You take out your anger from the world. That's one anger point less in the overall percentage. That's a good thing. That's how you help. The famous statement, by cleaning up your own room first. Not demanding everyone else to clean up theirs. And totally neglecting your own. That would be hypocritical. So, I liberate myself from my own suffering. I cultivate thereby my own happiness. And that lightness I share with the world. In whatever way. Maybe I'm a baker, then I share it through my job. Maybe I'm a counselor, and I do it there. Maybe I just do physical labor for people, helping them like that. Maybe I become, a nun, like Mother Teresa, serving the poor, maybe an educator, teaching children. There's many ways in which love works. But then you will have a lot of people that, even though you give them your heart, and you're genuine in that, you're truly loving them with all your body, your mind, your heart, your soul, they will actually get something good out of it sometimes. That's wonderful. That's where sympathetic joy comes in. Rejoice in every goodness you ever encounter. This is the easiest, cheapest, and best way to increase your own happiness. Whenever you encounter happiness, anywhere in this world, rejoice in it. It's such a rare thing, such a blessing to see it, to witness someone being successful and happy. How wonderful is that? How nice. It's free happiness right there. There's plenty around. And some of it is created by yourself. Some is created by others. Doesn't matter who creates it. The point is, there it is. It's so nice. But sometimes you will come across pain and suffering. And people will hate you for the service that you render. People will crucify you for telling the truth. What do you do then? Well, that's what equanimity is for. You're not caught up in the returns of your work. You're not working for the sake of a return. You're working for the sake of love and compassion. Not to get anything out of that. This is a really important point. Why do we meditate? Well, for the sake of doing it right now, here.
It's a work of love. It's a work of compassion. There is no need for any return. The return is up to God. I just do my part. I let go of my own heaviness. I open my heart as much as I can. The rest is not in my hands. It doesn't have to be. And so whatever happens then, I need equanimity in my life, because things go up and things go down. I better not be going up and down with them. And equanimity allows me to do that. It makes me more free, more relaxed, and thus more able to work in the name of love and compassion and so forth. I'm not saying that I'm doing that. I'm saying that it's something that is good to do, just in general. I could at best say that I'm trying. Yes? So, yeah, that's all that comes to mind for tonight. Are there any questions?